Breaking news. The Vikings signed wide receiver Albert Wilson. Played for the Kansas City Chiefs, played for the Miami Dolphins of most recent. And he's a guy that's he's about 2,400 yards. He's amassed 12 touchdowns. He's a guy that played and helped out the Dolphins, helped out the Chiefs here and there. Not a big piece to the puzzle, but a piece nonetheless. And he's a guy that's going to come in and compete. And there's a thing when I look at Albert Wilson, and when you name the names, and it threw me aback when I thought about it. So he's going to join Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, KJ Osborne, BC Johnson, Amir Smith-Marset, Dan Chisena, Tristan Jackson, Myron Mitchell, Thomas Hennigan, Jalen Naylor, and Blake Pro. That is a full room of guys. That's a lot of guys. And when you think about Dan Chisena, what does he do different than everybody else? Well, special teams. Amir Smith-Marset, what does he do different than other guys? He can return. I think that's what is going to have to happen, because you know what KJ Osborne can do. You know what Amir Smith-Marset can do. And then we know what BC Johnson can do. I'm going to put BC Johnson up there with KJ Osborne. I think those are 1-2 pieces going into that third receiver spot to fight. But BC's got a lot of work to do. But you get a veteran guy in BC. You get a guy that started some games. You get a guy that was a very good piece of this puzzle when Adam Thielen went down against the Lions with, I think, a leg injury, if I can't remember, a couple years ago. But that's what this room is about. Amir Smith-Marset falls into the 5. I just think logistically that's how it goes. And then Dan Chisena is your 6. And so when you think about bringing in Albert Wilson, what does he do different? Well, he's 5'9". That's different than everybody else in that room. He's a jitterbug guy that can run the ball. You can run some jet sweeps. If you think about some of the things the Rams do, the reverses they do, maybe that's why they bring him in, because they don't have a guy other than Smith-Marset that's kind of a jitterbuggy guy in the back. And then you throw in Kene Nwangwu. That's where I go with that. I think he's going to be kind of like a KJ, or not a KJ Osborne, but Tajay Sharp. Sorry. And I interviewed the guy. I'm like, come on, man. But Tajay Sharp, I feel like it's that kind of piece, a guy that can make the roster, a guy that can, be a 4th, 5th receiver, but a guy that's not going to compete with Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson. Like this is a piece of the puzzle that when they looked at their offense and all the things that Kevin O'Connell wants to do, and you look at the creativity within his offense, Adam Thielen said it. And I'm so upset that Adam Thielen's interview with us, like, we're going to get him back on, but he had some issues here and there. So we only got some of the questions in. But one of the questions I asked him was, where do you see yourself fitting? Well, he went on the Pat McAfee show and he kind of broke that down. He said, man, this is the most I feel like I've had to learn in an offense in my career. And when he says that, and I talked to BC, we're going to get BC on, it's the creativity within the packages. It's the creativity within the routes. There's more choice routes. And so for those who understand NFL, a choice route is nothing new and special. It's just you're giving your quarterback and your receivers a little bit more autonomy to create. So if it's man-to-man, you have a guy over the top, you can just hook it up right in front of him. You also can run an out route if his leverage, if you feel like, is inside. If his leverage is outside, you can run across his face, whether it's a deep over, whether it's a slant. And then, of course, if he's impressed, depending on what the outside receiver has, a 4th option in your choice might be a go. When Adam Thielen said that, I'm like, man, that's crazy. And so the fact that now they're creating, Kirk Cousins can check in and out of plays. He can change up some stuff. I think that when you add a piece like this, it's just another 5'9", jitterbug. You're just adding a piece and maybe say, look, we don't have this. We don't have a guy because I think everybody thought it was going to be BB. He could have been that guy to run jet sweeps and everything. Kene Nwangwu is fast. He's a running back. He can run with the ball. But you can't trick people when you put your running back in the slot unless he runs a lot of routes. Other than that, you're like, oh, here comes a jet sweep. You put a receiver out there who can actually run routes, your ears are in alert. You got to have high alert, but you don't know what's going to happen. So that's where I take this signing. I think it's a piece that can come into camp and compete. Dede Westbrook was in Minnesota working out for the Vikings. They decided, maybe not yet. This guy worked out as well, and they went on with him first. But again, this is not over. You got guys that are injured. You got guys that are going down all the time. You got minicamp coming up, which is going to be kicked up a notch. So there might be some hamstrings, some soft tissues. And so they just wanted to see where Dede Westbrook was after a year off the injury. And now they at least know, and then that's the next step.
The Vikings have always had 2 unbelievable receivers at the top, Thielen and Diggs, Thielen and Jefferson. For years, they toiled to try to find a third, right? BB was always injury prone. BC had injury issues, obviously. Michael Floyd didn't work out very well. Tajay Sharp didn't work out very well. Laquan Treadwell didn't work out very well. So they've been struggling just to find a third. Last year, they got it. KJ Osborne became a really good third wide receiver. So now it's about building up the depth. And when you're going to be passing the ball a lot, you might be in some 4 wide receiver sets. Why not build up even more depth? Why stop there? I think Albert Wilson could be a better version of Chad Beebe because the thing he's known for is his speed and his ability to separate quickly. So if it's 3rd and 3 and you're a little nervous to run the ball, you want to make sure you're throwing it, past the sticks. Albert Wilson might be the kind of guy in short spaces who can get open quickly, 4.4 speed. He's obviously been under some really good offensive minds in Kansas City. I like the pickup. And I think that you can never have too many wide receiving weapons. And, beyond Osborne, it's not that deep of a room. You've got a lot of names, but it's not that experienced of a room. And Wilson brings you 7 years of NFL experience, still 29. I don't think he's lost too much of a step yet. I like the pickup, and I don't think he's supposed to be a massive producer. I think he's just, pick your spots with him, a little third down here, run a couple special routes with him, because a lot of attention is going to be put on Thielen, Jefferson, and Osborne, which hopefully opens things up for Wilson.
Yeah, and when you look at and I'm going to the Rams because that's where we're going to go most of the year until we get going. Because of who they have, Kevin O'Connell, I got to go back to the Rams receiving room. And so Kevin O'Connell in his mind, what did our room look like? So you look at Van Jefferson, you look at Ben Schoenrock, or Schoenrock. I don't know how you say that. Skowronek, yeah. You look at it was in there. You got Cooper Kupp. You got Tutu Atwell, who went down with injury. You had Odell Beckham. And so when you think, and then you had Woods. And so when you think, and he went down with injury. So when you look at all these pieces to their puzzle, and currently they have Allen Robinson now from Chicago. They got JJ Koski, however you say it. So when you think about those pieces, and I remember specifically Skonek, whatever, Ben, number 18. I forgot who went down, but he ended up being the guy to have to run the deep go. And when you are the 4th or 5th wide receiver in the room and you're in the game in a big playoff spot, big Super Bowl spot, and you get sent deep, you think like I'm the clear out guy. Now, Matthew Stafford's like, look, dude, you're one-on-one with the safety, and he chucks it up there. Dude hits the ball like off his shoulder pads, completely just drops the moment. Like he could have been a big time story of like, here's another situation where like Tom Brady has done that in the past. He's turned a nobody into a star in a Super Bowl or a playoff game. Matthew Stafford had that same thought. Like, look, nobody's going to go with Skonek or whatever, how you say his name, Ben. Skowronek. There it goes. Nobody's going to go with him, and Stafford gets it. So when I look at these pieces here, Kevin O'Connell is having that same mindset. How can I get a guy like that? That's maybe Jan Chisena. Like we're throwing out these names like we think they're locks, but we don't know what they want out of their guys based off their offense. Dan Chisena's fast. Dan Chisena's long. Dan Chisena can get behind the safety. His speed has not been utilized yet. We haven't seen his hands, but that could be a guy that becomes the 5th, 6th receiver in that because he is a special teams guy that nobody else is going to do, which is gunner, kickoff return, and he doesn't mind doing it and does it well. I think that's some of the pieces to this puzzle that we keep forgetting. Special teams is huge. Like you can't carry 5 to 6 receivers and 2 to 3 don't play special teams. Like it just doesn't happen. You don't have that flexibility anymore with 49 guys 49 guys traveling and dressing, 53 guys, 49 dress. That's kind of the big overarching message. We got to remember special teams is key. I got a chance to see the special teams coach yesterday, and some of the things he's looking at doing, the drills, the guys in there. Hey, that 3rd receiver spot is kind of the 3 locks. And then after that, these next 3 have to be special teams guys, most likely, where you get Smith-Marset, you get Dan Chisena, and then you get BC Johnson, who's a special teams guy and has been. So I think that's going to be the key for those other 3 is Keenan McCardell is going to have to fight for him, but he's going to say, hey, look, this guy can play gunner. This guy can play kickoff return. That's where I think it's going to be key. And the same with DBs. We've seen in the past 9, 10, 9 cornerbacks, 9 DBs, 9, 10 DBs going in the game for Zimmer. It's not that defense anymore. So where do they find pieces? Can they go to a game with 7, 8 DBs and hope they all stay healthy and then pick up more linebackers because of the 3-4 situation, all this other. I mean, there's a lot of nuances that are going to be a little bit different this year as far as numbers and how they go into a game.